This is Toro's brand new commercial technology 60 volt. And the big question is, should you go with something like this and some of the other tools that I have down here on the ground, or should you stick with gas that we've been used to? Well, I really want to put that question to the test. I've actually got a landscaper with me, Gabe Tavera. Tavera Landscaping, is that right, Gabe?
Yes, sir. I've been trying to prove this guy wrong for years. If you guys don't know, he used to be my student teacher back when I was in high school. So ever since, I've been trying to catch him in lies and stuff. So I'm trying to stick with the gas powder equipment instead of electric. So we're gonna put it to the test this week.
Kind of a smaller crew. What does it look like your operation, Gabe, that we're gonna try to put some of these through? Is it you and how many other guys are with you?
I have 3 to 4 guys helping me out usually during the week. We usually mow Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. We have a lot of trimming jobs, so we have a lot of bigger properties, so we're definitely gonna put the leaf blower and the weed whacker to the test.
Okay, and then hopefully we find some kind of application for the hedge trimmer too. Gabe's been doing this a couple of years. Like, how long have you been in business, Gabe?
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. So he's kind of that early stage of business. We're talking about an operation of like 1 to 4 people. Like, is this worth it for an operation like that, or should this only be for the big municipality? These are questions we want to try to answer, because I want to kind of put Gabe on the spot with some questions. I'm going to go ahead and take this backpack off right now. But the big question to me is, he's gonna look at, do I go ahead and get these tools here with the whole battery setup that I've got? Or is he gonna go with something like we carry Echo, for example. If we put you into Echo and you got like an Echo PB9010, you got a hedge trimmer, and you got a grass trimmer, how much would you guess if you bought this in just gas?
Probably,
making you think here.
probably like around 2,000.
I got a quote here for Gabe for $1,473, so like 1,500 bucks, okay? Now let's make a guess. This stuff right here, well, basically what I'm going to kind of send Gabe out with, and this is where it could kind of go either way, inside of this, just so we kind of know what he's making a guess at here, there are batteries back here, 2 of them. I'm gonna send him with 2 10 amp batteries. These are new from Toro, bigger battery. They got more capacity, more power. And I'm also gonna send him with a couple chargers and 2 more of those batteries. Because the last thing we want, you know, and the concern probably with batteries is you go ahead and run out of battery power. You gotta have a couple backups. Or if you've got 3 things, maybe you need to use those 2 on these so you can use all the tools at the same time. What's your guess? So it's 1,500 for the Echo stuff. What do you think this Toro package might run you?
Around 2,500.
So 2,500 would be true.
Yeah.
If we took these 2 batteries away in the charger. I actually did a quote and I got 2,433 for basically this stuff right here, even without the chargers. If we added the chargers, these 2 little guys right here, these cost 110 a piece just for the chargers. Minimally, I'd say you could go ahead and go with this package and 2 chargers, and you'd probably be closer to $2,650, somewhere in that range. Okay, so we're talking about like $1,000 more, but to really do it right, to be totally well equipped, that's the big cost. Is these batteries sell for $450. The batteries are $450. So if we actually set him up the right way, it's a huge price increase. And this is where it gets kind of crazy as well, because if we go ahead and get you 4 batteries in here and you've only got 2 chargers, Toro has what they call a 6-pod charger. You can charge 6 batteries at the same time. If you get this whole setup without these 2 and instead a 6-pod charger, it's gonna scare you, this number. $3,800.
Oh wow, that's a big
so
price difference.
Honestly, that's the way you'd have to be set up to even have success with this sort of stuff. So that's really what we're weighing against. We're looking at $1,500 versus $3,800. That's like between 2 and 3 times the cost, which seems kind of absurd. Is the gas saving, is the convenience of the battery really gonna be worth it? I'm kind of skeptical of that. Like that's a huge amount of increase of money. And I feel like the only way for me to try to sell a product like this is to let someone like Gabe use this for a week, and he might love it or he might not. That's where we're gonna see if it's worth that extra money. So I'm gonna kind of introduce some of this to you, Gabe. You got the 2 batteries. You can push basically on this and pull these out when these are brand new right now. So these have a good full charge. They will actually tell you here what they're at. So we got a full charge in there. So there's a few different ways you can use all this different stuff. So first of all, this whole battery piece, it's pretty simple. You just press it in there. All you gotta do is cap this over top. I'm gonna go ahead and let you put this on right now. Go ahead and tighten it, make yourself feel comfortable. I wanna see what you think that feels like. I want you to give your honest opinion, Gabe. What do you think as you put this on, the comfortability factor? You got some backpack blowers.
For starters, it's pretty heavy.
So I absolutely noticed this when I was putting this stuff together. This is very heavy. If I compare this to an Echo PB9010, the Echo PB9010 on the Echo side, that's the strongest blower on the market. It's also the heaviest blower on the market. This feels heavier. These batteries are heavy, I'll say.
Yeah, it definitely feels heavier on the lower part.
Can you pull it up? You know, we can kind of look at stuff like that, but.
Let me see if I tighten this up a little bit. That does make a difference, but it's still a little uncomfortable.
So as far as operating that, squeezing the trigger, it's gonna give you a certain amount of speed. It's telling him his battery life in here. When you're squeezing the trigger, you can squeeze it, and then you can lock this, and you can basically be on that cruise control mode. If you want extra power, that'll give you even more if you need that boost. Now the reality, if you're on that turbo mode all the time, that's gonna affect your battery life. So don't use that unless you need to, you know, as far as that goes. How does it feel?
Oh, this is a cool little feature.
Yeah, so you can, depending on where he wants that, if he likes it right there, he can lock it to whatever position he wants. So just depending on your arm length, I think is why they're doing that right there. Okay.
Perfect.
Now here's what's semi-unique about the capabilities of what you can do with this, right? So he's got the power of two 10-amp batteries on his back right there. And you can have that same kind of power right over here if you want. So what I could do is I could go ahead and plug right into this, okay? And again, there's a little more weight back here. I can just feel that. So it's a little bit heavier, I think, than a normal trimmer. And I can go ahead and I can operate that. It's gonna run off of the power of this 10-amp battery. This is actually quite a bit of power. I think you'd be surprised what you can get out of this. But here's kind of what's unique about the capabilities. Maybe you're in some really, really high grass, rough terrain. You can actually gain more power than even what's sitting here right now. Also, there's a fair bit of weight that I'm holding right here. Of course, I could use the strap, which would definitely help me, but I'm feeling a lot of weight in the back end of this the way that it is. You can go ahead and take this off. You can actually remove this piece right here. And Toro has a tether system. So you can get the power of actually these two batteries and hook it over here and get the double capacity essentially. And so I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. I think the easiest way that I've seen to do this is first plug into the trimmer. Go ahead and put that backpack back on, Gabe. Is we could just slide this right here. Now, if this is on your backpack, is that, I don't know, is that easy for you to do to actually plug that in?
I don't even know where it's at.
See if you can get that. You're way off. Okay, so that's obviously not easy to do. Alternatively, this could have already been plugged in before he put the pack on. Plug it into that. What are your initial feelings on this if you've got this setup versus just a regular gas trimmer? Honest feedback.
Honestly, it takes a lot longer just to do this. You just pull and start going at it.
Yeah.
So, this takes a lot longer already.
And I already thought the same thing. This seems a little bit, this whole tether idea seems kind of cool in the moment, like all that stuff, you get the double power, all that kind of stuff. But to me, it seems like too much, and you've got a backpack on and the tether, it just, go ahead and set that down. You can do the same thing with this. Again, if you needed that, go ahead and give that, well, let's take this off here. Give that a little squeeze, see if that works for you. There you go. Okay, so if you need the power, you have the option with the tether. I don't personally see you using that tether, but 5 to 10% of the time. I think you would probably just plug a battery into that instead, because this is just too much of a process otherwise. And so maybe you never even get the tether to begin with. Maybe that takes some of that cost savings down, okay? But let's go ahead and take that pack all the way off, and we'll just plug this into a regular battery. Pretty heavy though.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to get up in those high places.
This might be the setup that's more realistic.
Oh yeah, this is way heavier in the back.
But probably he would still pick this over the backpack,
Yep.
I would think.
Most definitely.
This has the exact same hookup, the residential batteries, as the commercial batteries. I want you to feel the difference there. The question would be, is this going to have enough life? I'm actually gonna let you take one of these as well, just so you can say, maybe you could plug this in once and see if it lasts you long enough,
right.
But put this on. Go ahead and feel that difference.
Oh yeah, that feels light.
Yeah,
A lot
so
lighter.
that feels right. So that's
Yep.
what we're kind of fighting, right? If you get the power, it's way heavier. And I think that's your big advantage, disadvantage, you know, to what's going on.
Yeah.
With the weight of this stuff, how long is the capacity in a commercial application? The price increase? I'm kind of skeptical myself, I truly am. I own a 24-acre property. I use the residential 60-volt stuff, and I love it. And I think it's perfect for that. But the commercial side, with how heavy these things are, I don't know. You know, we're gonna see what Gabe thinks after a week of time.
What's going on, guys?
First of all, let's start with your opinion of the backpack blower.
Yes, didn't like it, too heavy. The full battery doesn't give you enough power unless you're hitting turbo all the time, which would give you 4 hours to 5.
Okay.
The only way it would work if you have 2 extra batteries. I think this is a no-go.
So you've got an option to use turbo, you use turbo. This lasted about 4 hours of runtime. Yep. That's with 2 batteries in the back. Okay. Trimmer. What'd you think about the trimmer?
I loved it, way better than gas. You get off, throw the battery in. We used the battery for 2.5 days. Worked out perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. Same weight as a gas powered one. So there's no real difference in there.
Okay. So that, you're saying one battery lasts you 2.5 days?
2.5 days. And the battery wasn't fully charged. It was at half.
Awesome. Now what about like from a power standpoint? Is it enough power? Is it the same kind of power as gas?
I'll say it. I think it's a little bit more.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so that's really cool to know.
Yeah.
You use, again, these large commercial Toro batteries. If you get the residential version, it's significantly different in size and weight. 60 volt, 10 amp hour, 540 watt battery for the commercial battery that Toro has to offer versus this residential one's a 60 volt. It's a 2.5 amp, 135 watt. This is basically a fourth of the ability of what this is. Hedge trimmer.
It would be good if we had the residential battery. We had the commercial one, which was way too heavy to carry above our heads. Okay. So if you were to be shaping a bush or something, once you got here, you're struggling already. Maybe if we have the residential one, it would be a lot easier for us to move around and stuff.
Right.
But other than that, it was way heavy.
Yeah, and that's something, maybe you can do that with this. Like the trimmer would be the same thing. Like you can use a residential battery in this. I mean, it plugs in the exact same way. You can use it with the trimmer. So if it's too heavy, it's too bulky, you can do that. What do you use other than this right now? You've got a gas powered trimmer. What do you have?
Yes, Echo.
You've got an Echo?
Yep.
And it's working well right now?
Yeah, I mean, it feels the same, except this one has more power.
Okay, and it depends, I'm sure, on which grade you get with Echo. I'm sure you get one that's probably got more power than that, but you're just saying the one that you've got might be the 225, I'm not sure for Echo, but this is in the $400 range for cost. I think trimmer alone, tool alone, is in the $400 range. And I think you would need to get at least one charger at that point to use this. You're gonna spend close to probably $1,000.
Yeah, I would.
Gabe.
Yes, I really would.
So if I go out there and I snap the Echo right now.
I would get it.
For real?
Yes.
You would?
I liked it that much that we don't have to keep putting gas. Anybody can run this.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Let's sign you up.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Cut it off. That's a lot of money.
Your honest opinion.
No, I really would buy it though. For $1,000, yeah.
$1,000 versus spending like
Trust me.
$300?
Trust me.